Hello everybody, and here again. So this is Christmas, and what have you done? What have we done? Another year over and a new one just begun. Well, not quite yet, and I do intend making a video about my momentous year, but I won't go into that now. So, and Christmas is one of those things. I tend to make a video every Christmas, and I probably got increasingly cynical about it all, especially about the commercialisation about it. And that is something that still annoys me. It seems to come earlier and earlier every single year, and it starts in August. I read something the other day about one of the big department stores in London actually had things out for Christmas in August. Yes, that's mind-blowing, really, isn't it? But this year has been, as I said, it's a strange year for me anyway, but it's a strange Christmas because obviously my father isn't around now. My father died in January, and this time last year he was actually in hospital. I went to visit him on Christmas Day, so that sort of brings back those memories as well. And it was the last time that my children actually saw my father alive. And my mother-in-law obviously died this year, so it's a strange time for my wife as well. We've got my mother coming round tomorrow, and my father-in-law as well, because luckily they live quite local. We didn't want either of them to be left alone, obviously, at Christmas, because it's a strange time for everybody, them included. Obviously, they've lost their partner, both of them, of at least 50 years. Also, another complication is my father-in-law, and this could be related in some ways, has got a bit of bad back problem at the moment through, no fault of his own. It's one of those things when you get to that age, and I think I mentioned that the other day somewhere. But it all brings it up, and it all makes you sort of re-evaluate that and what you're doing at Christmas, because Christmas is a family thing. I'm a sort of a religious and political, for that matter, agnostic, I think. So the religious side of it, although I respect it very much so, and obviously that's why we're there in the first place, and you shouldn't lose sight of that. But I think we've gone past that now. It's that commercial side. It's trying to sell us, but that's another topic maybe. But we seem to forget that it is that sort of time where people come together, and I think I probably lost sight of that, to be perfectly honest. And it's only over the last year, especially this year, and maybe even last year, as I said, when my father was in hospital, that it sort of brings it home to you, because the people aren't there. You're not doing those normal things, and you see the effect that what the last year has happened in the last year has taken its toll, should we say, even certainly in some ways as well. So it's going to be a bit strange, and that's made us sort of, both of us, both myself and my wife, sort of put things on the back burner. We haven't been so enthusiastic about it, if enthusiastic at all, to be perfectly honest, sort of putting decorations up, sending out cards, and we have sent out cards, but we haven't sent out as many as normal. My father-in-law, for example, isn't sending out any, because that just shows you how he feels about it all, and he's a fairly religious person. But so it's a bit of a weird time, isn't it? And as I said, it's great to get all the people around there, but it sort of accentuates it when those people aren't there and everybody else is talking about it. But when you talk to other people, as I have and my wife has, and obviously everyone, the amount of people you talk to, there seems to be an issue in somebody's life somewhere. There's something going on somewhere along the line. The amount of deaths that you hear about around this particular time, or illnesses and things, especially in this country at the moment, we've had so many problems, as they have in Europe, with people not getting to where they want to, and that's going to make Christmas a bit of a strange thing. Okay, that's a temporary measure, I know. It's not quite the same as someone obviously not being there for the rest of eternity, should we say, because they've sadly passed away. But a couple of little things I wanted to mention, because some of those sort of things that we have done to try and bring us back. We've got this particular book. As you can see, it's by Justine Garder, and it's called The Christmas Mystery. If you've ever, this guy also, I think his first book was one called Sophie's World, which is like a potted history of philosophy in some ways. He's written several other books, but this is one that I keep returning to. Myself and my wife read it some years ago, and we both read it again this year, because it tells the sort of Christmas story in a way, but it tells it in a unique way, but it's done a bit like an advent calendar. So it's an advent book, and it's got 24 chapters, and all the chapters are divided up: December the 1st, December the 2nd, etc., up to today. And it's one of those things, it's quite good, because you read it and you use it like an advent calendar, and you sort of read one little chapter, and the chapters are only sort of 4 or 5, 6 pages a day, so it's not a great chore or anything like that. And so we've been reading that, and that does sort of bring it home, because as I said, it does tell the story, the sort of the traditional Christmas story, but in a different way, and a bit of a sort of a, not mind-blowing way, but it makes you think about it, and it's very clever. And if you ever see that, I'll hold it up again, because you can't get this particular edition, because his is a special edition. It's actually signed by the author, I think. fine because I got it via a book club and it's actually got the guy's signature in it. But it's well worth it. That particular version's got some great illustrations in it as well. So if you ever see something like that, certainly go and get it. So I can recommend it. So that sort of brought those things home a little bit, I think. But a couple of other things with my father actually. My mother, I may have mentioned this in the video before, decided that she and my sister, to be fair, wanted to have some sort of place to remember my father because he was cremated and his ashes were scattered. There's no sort of real place, but there was a garden of remembrance up at the cemetery where we are, and they decided to have a little plaque put up there. Well, my mother actually got news that had been sorted out yesterday. You know, it's Christmas Eve today, so we all went up, the three of us today, myself, my mother and my sister, to have a look at that. Nice friends, still snow up there in the garden of remembrance. As I said, I don't personally feel that I need that. That it's here and it's elsewhere as well. It's all around. The memories are there, but it is a focal point, and I totally understand that is where the ashes are scattered in the sort of garden there as well. So you know that is a final resting place if you want to put it that way. So that was quite something. But another thing that happened, maybe it's a bit of a coincidence as well, is that my mother decided, partly through my prodding, to ask for my father's war records because he served in the Second World War, World War II, and I may have relayed parts of his service before, in the various videos and bits and pieces. And because she's now his widow, next of kin or whatever, she can apply and get this for nothing, and it's done very, very quickly. And my mother literally got this through the post yesterday. So I've got all these sort of bits and pieces. It's all photocopies and everything. You're never quite sure what you're actually going to get. If I put it over there, so I'm sort of looking through that, and you can find bits and pieces in there, and it's quite, and obviously that brings it right back. Okay, this is something that happened 60 odd years ago, 1941. He sort of signed up, I think, into the army, and there's little things in there. It even gives you details about when he was out in North Africa and he was out in Egypt, attached to the 8th Army, and the desert rats and all that sort of stuff. Fighting against Rommel in the desert, etc. There's little things in there like he was fined a week's pay for not cleaning his rifle properly. Something like that, and another one there when he fined another week's pay. A bit of a rebel, this man, where he failed to fill up the jeep or something, the transport that he was using, because he used to do a lot of driving, I think, and he failed to fill it up, and it ran out of petrol and was unusable. He got fined another week's wages or whatever, army pay for that. So that all brings that home, and it's something I may well talk about, because I did a couple of bits and pieces before, whether I can't remember whether blogs, booze, videos or whatever, about the war service. I knew a great deal about it. I'm still, obviously I've only just got this and I'm looking through it again, so it's quite interesting. It just reinforces a lot of what I knew already, but there's more information in there. And as I said, I've mentioned before, I've been interested in family history as well. So there you go. I thought I'd mention that. This is my Christmas. I hope your Christmas is a good one, or your holidays, happy holidays, or whatever it is that you celebrate. And even if you don't celebrate it, all the best to you. Thanks to everybody who's watched, commented on my videos, listened to my audio, who's read my ramblings on Facebook or in blogs and God knows what else, all those they've read, listened to, watched or whatever, all those bits of social media that I put out there over the next year. And I'm sure I shall be around between now and New Year, because social networking is something that just doesn't go away, and this is another little family, I think, isn't it? And certainly that's been reinforced by a couple of the Christmas cards I've had, so thank you very much if you did send me one. May not have sent you one, but as I said earlier on, been a bit of a strange year. But anyway, I'm going to leave it there for now. As I said, I hope you all have a good time, and a happy and a peaceful time with the people that you want to be with those that you love, and surround yourself with that and them, because that's what it's all about in the end, isn't it? It all comes down to family and getting together, and that's something that this book actually suggests. It's the sort of message. It's all about peace. It's all about getting together and helping each other out, and I think that's the true spirit of Christmas, and that's something that we do forget about. Even us people who are pretty well non-religious can still believe in that and still dish that side of it out and enjoy that side of the message that comes through that. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Have a good time, and I shall speak to you on the other side. Goodbye.